Hey, Grow Campers. It's your co host, Lisa McDermott. And on today's Grow Camper podcast, I am excited to have as my guest Pamela Holt, who is the executive producer and host of the great show, Me, Myself, and the World, that you can see on Amazon Prime or for free on Go Traveler or Tubi. Pamela, I think, wrote the book on solo traveling. And solo traveling doesn't mean single traveling, it just means solo traveling. Want to know what that means and how you can do it too? Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone, to the Grow Camper podcast. I am so excited to have on today's episode Pamela Holt, who is the executive producer and host of Me, Myself, and the World. It's streaming on Amazon Prime and it's free on Go Traveler and Tubi. And I watched her 2 seasons of her show. I love it. You talk about someone who knows how to travel solo. This is the woman. Pamela, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk with you and share our travels.
Before we get too far into our conversation here, we do need to take a quick break for today's first show sponsor.
Hey, RVers! Any way you explore, explore protected. With Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. They make it easy to quote, and the process takes as little as 4 minutes. Get a quote now. Insure your passion.
Thanks, everyone. We appreciate your support of the Girl Camper podcast. We couldn't be doing it without you. So, Pamela, let's dive in here. Let's talk about what inspired you to embark on solo travel in the first place. And then how did that evolve into creating your show, Me, Myself, and the World?
Okay, well, we got to go back a little bit to my original inspiration when my parents took my sister and I traveling. I was 13, turning 14, and we were traveling in Asia. It was such an exquisite time to see so many, a lot of untouched places. And I had saved up all summer before we went traveling to buy myself one of those Roman numeral Seiko watch.
Now you're dating yourself.
Yes, it was so cool back then. And we were at a restaurant called Jimmy's in Hong Kong, and I just thought I was the coolest thing. It was so chic. And I had my fancy watch on, and everyone in the restaurant sang happy birthday. It wasn't too big of a restaurant. And I looked around at all the colors of the world in this one restaurant, and I got the travel bug right then and there. I thought, oh my gosh, I want to be part of this community, part of this traveling global community for the rest of my life. And at the age of 19, I was traveling solo. I lived in Japan for a little bit. I had actually gone there twice and really got my feet wet there. And then fast forward to my mid 30s, I got into a really traumatic car accident and I didn't know if I was going to fully recover. But I made an 80 by 50 promise to myself that if I did fully recover, I was going to go to 80 countries by the time I turned 50. So that 80 by 50 promise really stuck with me. And coming up on my 50th birthday, I traveled to 7 countries to land on my 80th country on my 50th birthday.
Oh,
So now I'm 55. I've been to over 93 countries and territories, and you can say, love travel.
that is so cool. I love that. I love that goal of the 80 by 50. I mean, that is a neat goal to have had. And it's something that you can do at any age too. So I think I might have to incorporate something like that on my quickly approaching 60th birthday, but I still have some time.
Oh, good. You know, it's really nice to always move the line for yourself. So you keep at, if you take one thing off the bucket list, add 5 more. And
Yeah,
it always just kind of keeps you going.
very neat, very neat. And I think, we're kind of a kindred spirit in both of us love to travel. I've been very fortunate to travel internationally for a long time in my life, a lot due to my brother, who is a priest and then stationed kind of all over the world in Africa and Italy and stuff. And parents shipped me off to go visit. But I had a similar incident to your car accident when I just graduated from college. I went legally blind in a period of like 4 days. And at that time, I was slated to be a teaching golf pro and was supposed to go down to PGA school in Texas. I did end up still going. But you talk about an event that changes your perspective on life and how things can happen that are beyond your control. I ended up being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and have been very fortunate in that it is in remission and haven't had really a lot of episodes for many, many years. But that was my wake up call to live life without any regrets. And one of those was that I want to see the world. I want to see other cultures. I want to see how other people live, and I want to experience things. And so I wholeheartedly agree with you in your position that do it.
Yes, just do it. And on what I was solo traveling, I called it my golden jubilee, which was my 50th birthday. And when I was traveling during that 7.5 countries or 7 countries, I really had a really big epiphany that it wasn't just about hitting this mile marker of the 80 by 50, but I wanted to create a show to inspire other people to get out there and discover the world on their own terms, much like what you've done with Girl Camper and you yourself. And so I created Me, Myself, and the World. And it's all about the art of solo travel. And there really is an art to it. We'll kind of get into that. But I think it's an art because people can solo travel in their own way in so many different ways. And there's the refinement of the art of it. Where, maybe there's the art of cooking or the art of dance or something. This is the art of solo travel. Like, what makes it special for you, I think.
Right. And I think we need to point out that solo travel doesn't mean going somewhere by yourself.
Mm-mm.
It can
No.
be, you're joining a group of other solo travelers. It can be, like coming to a Girl Camper event. It can be you just want to go somewhere by yourself. Solo travel can be so many different things to so many different people. It just, I think, kind of really means doing this on your own. So you don't have kind of that crutch of your spouse or your partner to lean on
Yes.
to make the plans, or you're following them. You're doing this on your own, and that's very, just
Empowering.
yes, very
Yes,
empowering. Mhm.
absolutely. I love what you said because in 2025, I really think group solo tours or solo group tours are going to be a huge thing. Everybody has kind of sort of shape shifted their lifestyle. Their bucket list became a lot more important in the last couple years because they had time to sit and think, wow, what have I done with my life?
Mhm.
And what is it that I want to accomplish? And so I think solo, in particular, solo group women tours are just going to be all the rage. So many people are so excited about getting out there and really accomplishing some things and seeing some things on their own. And yes, I love what you also said about the difference between solo travel is not to be confused with singles travel.
Mhm.
My mom is a perfect example where she's gone on solo cruises, but a lot of the people on the cruise or in the group are have partners and husbands and wives, and they're just all solo travelers that love this itinerary or love to cruise, and their spouse or partner doesn't like that. So people are out um, really stepping out of their comfort zone and going with these solo group tours, and it's a really great way to get your feet wet, for sure.
And that's a lot what Girl Camper sees. We see a lot of women, especially as we've gotten older, where, they're empty nesters, or, the families may be camped, but the husband, is kind of over it. And the wife sees Girl Campers out doing it and wants to come do it. And that's what we encourage is come try one of our events. And, if you have some qualms or concerns about you haven't really done this on your own, that's what we're there for, is to kind of help you get over that hurdle, and make you feel more confident and have more fun doing it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Learn, connect, and I love that stepping out into your out of your comfort zone, but into a community.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Baby
great.
steps.
Yes.
Definitely baby steps. So, what have been some challenges that you've encountered, um, as a solo woman traveler? Because, it can be both rewarding and challenging, but what's been the most difficult moment that you've faced on the road and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. I think the two things that I have faced mostly, and what I do love about chatting with you is I don't think I have to sugarcoat it. I think your audience with Girl Camper, they get it. They get that not everything, not every trip, not every experience is perfect. So I think we've all experienced, for me, I've gotten sick. And um, the way to be prepared for that is always travel not only with an emergency kit, but your own personal kit of what makes you better. Everybody knows what tablet or medicine makes them feel better, whether it's over the counter or not. And I think it's always great to have that. And doctors will always prescribe travel medicine. Um, I ended up getting sick in the Amazon. And I had already taken everything of mine, and this woman, she was called in. I mean, we're talking like 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm in the middle of the Amazon. Just I'm I'm so many hours away from any big city, let alone a big hospital. There's just no way that I'm gonna get there. And she brings me this cup. And I'm looking at it thinking, well, I'm gonna die anyway, so I might as well try the cup. And I'll tell you, I don't think I got sick for 2 years after that. I got better. I got a little sick just a little bit down the way when I got to Galapagos, and then I don't think I got sick for 2 years. So whatever magic potion was in that wonderful Amazonian drink, it was great. But again, I that was a really good lesson to always travel with your own medication kit.
Mhm.
And the other thing is be really prepared for money. I also lost all my credit cards and cash. So that was an eye-opening experience to be without that. And I really recommend that people always have emergency cash hidden, usually an extra credit card, particularly when you're traveling abroad. And always have color copies of your passport and your driver's license, not only with you, but a digital copy that you can access anywhere. So, look, things come up, but go with the flow. Like, don't let that one thing ruin this incredible adventure because sometimes out of some craziness, some great things will happen.
Good point. And I think as campers, you definitely have to be someone that goes with the flow because things do happen camping. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just will make for a much better experience. And the same with travel. And if you can be relaxed and go with that, you're going to have a much better time. So
Mm-hmm.
I love the tip
Don't
about the
sweat the
money.
small stuff. Yeah.
That that part I hadn't really thought about, is having that little extra stash somewhere just in case, but that makes total sense.
I usually put my color copy of my passport and local cash, maybe even from a couple neighboring countries if I'm traveling abroad. I stick it in a Ziploc bag and I stick it somewhere. Sometimes I've even hidden it underneath the sole of my shoe
Hmm.
just to have it literally on my person. And now, of course, I had to learn the hard way, but yes, it really comes in handy.
But with your experiences of getting sick and then losing all your money and documents and stuff, it still hasn't stopped you. You're still going on, which
No.
is
And
awesome.
I will be honest, I can tell you about, when I got sick and I ended up actually over in Galapagos, still sick. Um, the long and short of the story was that when I landed in La Isabela in Galapagos, evidently I passed out right on the docks. And I woke up 6 days later in these people's house. It was sort of a half house, half hotel that they were building, and it wasn't even finished. And this woman had been taking care of me for 6 days. Um, they'd gone through. I didn't have any other medication left except for a few fever reducers, and my fever just didn't come down for 6 days. And I really don't remember any of it. I remember like a small moment, and I remember thinking, where am I and how to get here? But that I was only cognizant for a moment. But that woman is still my friend today. She has a thriving hotel on a very small island in Galapagos. I've sent people there. She and I wish each other happy birthday every year. So from something that wasn't great, I have a friend for life. So I think if you just stay open and go with the flow, something great will come out of it.
Well, and I think something that we've kind of, need to remind people of is to when you're traveling or just in life, to smile and be friendly, you know? Um, Look somebody in the eye, make that connection. And in our digital world, we're kind of losing that. But when you can have something like that that happens, it just reminds us of how important it is to have people in our lives.
Yes, we depend on each other, especially women. Wherever you go, pack your smile. And like you said, look in the eyes and connect, because you never know when that woman, you'll run into her again, or when you need a friend, and it will really pay off.
It
Really.
will. I think I was telling you earlier, I had a recent experience where my husband and I went out to Grand Targhee Resort to do some skiing, and he had a class that he was taking, and I didn't have anybody to ski with. But as I was sitting in the lounge area getting ready, here was another single woman just sitting there, and we
Mhm.
struck up a conversation, and it turns out that she lives there. This is her home mountain, and I ended up skiing with her all day. We found out we had a ton in common. As far as, love of travel and fly fishing and skiing, camping, and she and her partner now are planning to come out to my place here in the Black Hills in October and spend a few days. So those kind of connections I think are just really awesome if we can make them.
Yeah. You ask a lot of people about travel and say, hey, do you remember your travel from 1975? They'll often not even remember where they went, but they can tell you about someone they met and that experience that they shared. My mother alone, she'll go, well, I don't even remember where we met Gus and Joyce, but we met them on a cruise, and 50 years later, they're still friends. And that's because that connection stays alive. So,
That's true.
well,
Yeah, that
all
is.
with her smile.
Yeah, all with a smile. So a lot of women, whether it's girl campers or not, I think can be really hesitant about traveling solo. They're probably dreaming of it. I can think of my best friend, who I'll keep nameless, but she'll know I'm talking about her, really wants to travel, but just doesn't take that leap to leave her husband. She feels it's like being the dutiful wife and everything. And, but he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go to Mexico or anything like that. So as a result, she doesn't go. But what advice would you give her, to get someone to take their first trip like that?
Yes, I have a lot of advice. First of all, um, I think that couples, now that I'm a couple, I've only been married 2.5 years, but
Mhm.
I already see the advantages of each of us having our own passions, of each of us following the things that bring us joy, because then when we come back, we get to talk about something, we get to share in something. And I think that is so, that revitalizes relationships on a monthly, yearly basis. Um, that's one. Two, for anybody who is nervous about solo traveling, first of all, leap and let the net appear. Trust and have faith that this is going to be a positive experience, but also plan and depend on yourself. When you go traveling, you're going to build self-confidence, you're going to build independence, and you're going to find things out about yourself when you start to trust your decisions, and not only your decisions of like, should I go here today or should I eat this, but who to talk to. And we all might make mistakes along the way, but again, some of those mistakes turn into the best golden nuggets. um I think in terms of people who are feeling nervous for their first solo trip or apprehensive, it's okay to start small. You want to start with just maybe start with a local day tour that's not too far away, but wake up in the morning, go there, start with breakfast and stay till the close and then drive home, or even stay the weekend, kind of work up to that. That's one thing. So start small and work out. And for those who are listening, I'm using like start local and then move to somewhere else in the state, somewhere else in the United States, and then eventually abroad. The other thing that I really recommend is always have a passion. So this is a great way to get your feet wet for solo travel. Let's say you want to go to France for the first time and it's intimidating. Well, why not go for a cooking class? Why not do a street art class? Why not take a ballroom class in Vienna? Take a Balinese cooking class when you're in Bali. Something that gets you grounded and gives you connection with other people. I think that's sort of top and tailing your trip with solo adventures, but then have something that kind of anchors you to that space or that destination. And that's my third piece of advice for getting people to solo travel is top and tail your trip. So let's say that you have a work trip or a family trip. And a friend of mine does this all the time, where let's say they're going to Cambodia as a family. She's got her feet wet in the region. She's got the money. She's got a just kind of feeling secure. And then she'll go over to Vietnam, which is an amazing place to solo travel, and go over there either at the beginning of the trip or the end of the trip. And I think that those different ways will really help encourage people to feel more comfortable. But again, if you're in the United States, start small and work outwards.
I think that's a great advice, great way to look at it, to start the little and then expand it up. And I love the suggestion, especially on the international trips, to look for things to do there. Cooking classes are wonderful. I watched your show and you spent a lot of time in Bali. I love Bali. I think I could live in Bali. But when we were there too, we did a cooking class and it was so much fun, so interesting. What a great way to experience culture. And especially like in Bali, it's in their homes. So you're getting to see how people live in another part of the world. And so I think cooking classes are a great thing. And it's another thing that binds us all together across the world, something that we all have in common. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and you're learning, when you go there, when you travel with purpose, whatever that passion or bucket list item event is, you're also learning, like for cooking, you're learning about the history. You're hearing the language because you're reading it in the recipes. And that interaction with the chef or the cooking teacher, it will give you so much more than just, say, looking at art or something. That interaction, that cultural, like you said, that cultural interaction is so great. It's, again, building a community. Just like Girl Camper, you're constantly stepping into a community that you can be part of.
Right. And we're a great way, like you were saying, start small. So find your local Girl Camper chapter. See, if you're super nervous, start with going to one of our meet and greet lunches. We have a lot of Seed of Friendship lunches. Or, check out one of the overnight camping events. There's a lot of different things there. And I personally try to host things that will take you out of your comfort zone. I've got a 125-mile backpacking through hike coming up in June. So if anybody has ever dreamed about hiking the Appalachian Trail or the Pacific Crest Trail but don't know where to start, check out my event in June out here in the Black Hills. That'd be a great way to get your feet wet. So, yeah. Before we move on to my next question for Pamela, we're going to take another quick break for today's second show sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Exploring without travel trailer insurance could have your adventures going in the wrong direction. Keep yours moving forward with Progressive. Get a quote today from a leader in RV insurance.
Hey, thanks, guys. We appreciate you guys sponsoring our show, too. We couldn't be doing these episodes without you, and it means so much. So let's jump back in. So we touched on a little bit of how do people get started. Let's talk about safety, because that is always a big concern that we hear from women in our group for camping. How do you feel safe? What do you do? and that kind of thing. And I know you mentioned be prepared, but let's expand on that a little bit more. What are some things that women can really do uh, when they're in areas that they're really unfamiliar with?
Right. Well, we have a literal gift to us that's been handed down recently, which is called locations on our phone or on the Apple AirTag or any of the AirTags.
Oh.
It's a gift to us. And so I always recommend for people to not only share their itinerary with a family member, a trusted friend, but also why not share your location? Put a few AirTags in your computer, or your phone, your wallet, your purse, your pocket. It's okay. It's great for people to know where they are or where you are. It's I know that you and I had talked a little bit about this. There are specific apps now that are great for women solo travelers where there's even kind of a next level of tracking, I'll call it, or location finding. But also be sure to know the emergency numbers of where you're traveling. If you're traveling outside of the US, it's not always 911. It's a different code wherever you are. Know where the closest embassy is. We'd mentioned have your passports and travel cash and things like that. But I think one of the biggest pieces of advice is pack your wits and trust your gut. We're all animals at the end of the day, and we were given this instinct so that we could pay attention to it. When you think something is wrong, change direction, physically, mentally, whatever, change direction and take ownership of that change and feel the confidence of like, I'm not comfortable here. I'm going to shift to over here. Another thing that I do that I tell a lot of women is if you think you're being followed, turn right around, look at the person in the face and say, how you doing? Give me your best New York, how you doing? And it's intimidating to people. Take that target right off your back and throw it on them. These little small adjustments, and it's okay if you don't feel confident doing it. Fake it till you make it. That's what we say in entertainment. Fake it till you make it. But when you fake it, you also feel it and you can step into that confidence, especially when you have success. Another thing is never look lost. If you don't know where you are, let's say you're standing on a street corner, maybe you're sitting in your van, or you're sitting in your RV and you're looking for directions. Don't just sit randomly looking lost. Make sure your door's locked, or go sit at a cafe and then pretend like you're planning, not lost or something. Just be cognizant of your surroundings. And like I said, pack your wits and then pay attention to your guts. Just because you're on vacation doesn't mean your brain should be on vacation.
Good point. Yeah.
Yes.
If it doesn't feel right, if something feels off, get out of there.
That's right.
Just, get that spidey sense going. And the tracking apps are so helpful. I was telling you earlier too, my brother, who's quite a bit older than I am, and a very world traveler. He lived in Africa for 18 years, lived in Italy for 5. He recently was going back to Nigeria, but was overnighting in Turkey. And he was going without any plan because he had heard a rumor that if you fly on Turkish Air and you have an overnight connecting flight, Turkish Air will give you a free hotel room somewhere if you ask for it.
Wow.
I was going to ask you if you'd ever heard of that. But he was just going to go and see if it worked. And I was like, really?
That's an adventure solo traveler.
Yeah, so I did make him share his location with me on one of the apps, and a lot of them are free, like Life 360, and so I could see where he was in Turkey and also where he was in Nigeria, because the Nigeria of today is not the same as what it was, when he lived there. So I was able to have some comfort in knowing that he was okay, and he never did check on the hotel thing in Turkey. He ended up kind of chickening out and staying with some other priest, which I'm glad about.
I love the role reversal of you checking in on him.
Not sure when that happened, when the baby sister had to take care of the big brother, but it's all good.
I do like his adventurous spirit. And actually, I know that Iceland Air has that free stopover. If you're going transatlantic from the United States to wherever they fly in Europe, you can do a free like 24-hour to 7-day stopover in Iceland. And they don't give you a hotel, but there's no extra charge. What a great way to see Iceland.
Oh, that is. And Iceland is on my bucket list. I'd love to, do a girl camper trip there
Yes.
sometime.
Some hiking, some summer hiking.
Rent a van, tour
Yep.
around the island. It could be really fun to.
Neat.
But yeah, that's great advice. Be prepared, be aware of your surroundings, and just kind of, get out of there and let people know what your plans are, where you're going to be. So, and I think share your itinerary, share your flight itinerary too, so that they know when you're either changing countries or leaving and coming back and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes, and I also heard this. This is great. I heard this from Pauline Fromer from the Fromer's Guide. She said a woman told her once, as soon as you land anywhere, go to the local grocery store and get the bag. Buy anything so you get their plastic bag with their logo on it, because then people are going to think you're a local if you're walking around with the local grocery bag. Is that not the best?
That is brilliant.
Yes. So think about it. If you're just swinging your little grocery bag around, someone's going to go, no, she lives here. So I love that one.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Really great idea. So, as you know, Grow Camper is an outdoor adventure group. So what have been some of your favorite destinations and experiences that have made you feel deeply connected to nature?
Without a doubt, my experience going on the Salcantay Trail. Now, this is the trail in Peru that goes from Cusco, which is sort of one of the main cities, and you go up to Machu Picchu, or Aguascalientes is the little town. This is a very difficult and very high. I think it's about 4,300 above 4,300 meters at the top peak. And boy, it will take your breath away because it is very high elevation. I think that's maybe around 14 to 16,000 feet.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yes. That I felt so connected. We camped along the way. Literally our only entertainment was a deck of cards, and we split up some rice kernels so we could bet with the rice kernels. And we played the locals along the way. That was a truly exhilarating experience. Now, I have not been on the Inca Trail, but I've spoken to so many people. They all agree with me that the Salcantay Trail is more difficult, more challenging, and much more rewarding. And you won't see anyone for a day and a half versus the Inca Trail, where it's just lines of people. So it's a really unique experience. And we were talking before we started recording, and I had such an incredible experience just with the locals along the way. They understand that tourists are passing through, so they'll set up little stalls, and if they hear you coming or know that you're coming, they might run out there and sell something. And so I brought candy for the kids, local candy, not the American candy, and pencils and some other supplies, some little art supplies. And of course, I had to teach them the hand jive because I did grease one when I was young, and I know the hand jive. And I'm like, they can do that for each group that comes by. And most likely that group is also going to know the hand jive. So it's an instant connection with zero need to speak the same language. And if you're doing the hand jive moves, not even doing the vocals, everybody knows what you're doing. So that was something fun to share. Exactly. Born to hand jive, baby. Yeah, I love that. And it was something that meant to me because I came from performing. So it's something that I can impart on them. And I have little trinkets that they give to me that they made. So that's really fun to get to swap those things.
That stuff is so much fun. I had a similar experience hiking in Nepal up to Mount Everest Base Camp. And anytime you'd go through some of the little villages and the little kids would come out to you, it was just such a joy. And they didn't speak English, but you communicated with just that smile and that joy and just the happiness. And so much fun. And those are the memories that I'm going to remember, not, who is the innkeeper at this tea house or what did I have to eat or anything like that. But it's the smiles of those children, and those kind of trips are just awesome. And I've got to remember that trip to Machu Picchu because I definitely want to go there sometime. But I'd not heard of that trail. I'd heard of the Inca Trail, like you said. But what you're talking about is definitely way more up my alley, something that's more tied into the culture and in the nature part of it. I love that.
Yeah. A little trick on that one is definitely go to Cusco just at least 2 days early and get yourself acclimated at that elevation before you start walking. The great thing is that you're walking, so you're not going up too fast. Even for me, even though we walked, it hit me pretty hard. And I think you'd mentioned you had elevation sickness. First of all, going to Mount Everest Base Camp is so badass, so I bow to you. But you've experienced it as well.
Yeah.
Again, here this is a little challenge within your trip, but you overcome it and you keep going. And, I interviewed a gal in Bali, and she had given some advice on camera, and I know part of it made it. She said, arrive curious and let go. Arrive curious is such a fantastic piece of advice. Arrive curious, and then also let go of your expectations.
Yes.
A quick thing about solo travel, because you're solo traveling or because I'm solo traveling, what I do is I over plan. So let's say I know I'm going from February 1st to February 15th. I know everything that's happening from February 1st to February 15th in and around the area I'm in. Let's say something comes up, I miss a flight, something happens. Well, I have alternatives already built in because I'm like, hey, great. I'm 2 days late, but I know there's a parade over here in a day. So I think I'll stay and I'll go to that parade. And the magic can happen when you just let go and you let sort of the wind blow your way. And
Mhm.
we were talking about this earlier, and I don't want to forget to mention this. I know as a solo traveler, a lot of people, two things. A lot of people have given me that sad, oh, you're a solo traveler, you must be single, you don't have anybody in your life.
Right.
I got that for 50 years. And what I've decided to do is to redefine solo travel. The solo, SOLO, stands for seeking out life's opportunities. So the next time somebody looks at you and says you're solo traveling, you can say, yes, I am. I am seeking out life's opportunities. Watch their face change. Because you now went from being, oh, that poor person who doesn't have anyone to travel with, to full empowerment. And the other thing I used to get all the time is like, oh, you're going to Bali, or you're going on this golden jubilee birthday trip. You must be having a midlife crisis. I'm like, oh no. I do not need to have a midlife crisis as an excuse to travel, to get out there and explore the world on my own terms. I, as a woman, and everybody else, we no longer need permission, and we certainly don't need an invitation. We can just go. And if you do, for any reason, need an invitation or permission, we're here giving it to you to get out there and take that first step. Take that first step with Girl Camper and go out there and, like you said, just touch base with everybody. Try an afternoon. If you don't want to stay the night, that's fine too. But just take that first step, because times are changing and we no longer need any sort of permission from anyone. We can just do it. Whether we're single, whether we're married, whether we're anything, we got this.
Exactly. We've given you permission. You don't need it, but in case you don't need it, now you got it. And you don't need to have a life-changing event. You don't need to come down with MS. You don't need to be in a serious car accident. Use us, though, as your inspiration that we went through those things and realized there may not be a tomorrow. So do these things today. Do not live your life within your regret. Get out there and do things and do them now,
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So your first seasons, you went to Bali and Vietnam, I believe, right? And of course, Bali is wonderful, and Vietnam's definitely on my bucket list too. And then you went to Thailand And
Northern Vietnam and Thailand.
oh, for the second season.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I consider Vietnam, Bali in particular, not necessarily all of Indonesia, but Bali, Vietnam, and Thailand to be the trifecta for solo travelers. First of all, there's a massive network of solo travelers. There's whether you're a digital nomad or you're a solo traveler and you're there on business and then you switch to pleasure for solo traveling. There's so much opportunity. They even have apps in Vietnam where you can go on it as a traveler and say, hey, I love steak, or I'm a vegetarian and I'm going to go to this restaurant at 5 o'clock. Please join me. And people will show up because they want to eat with someone and they want to connect with someone. Sometimes they're locals and sometimes they're other travelers. So this community of solo travelers is just starting to explode. And honestly, I will tell you, because I know a lot of women feel, and I felt this too when I'm 49 going, oh my God, what am I doing solo traveling on my 50th birthday? And the response that I got was so different than I expected, so pleasantly different, in that everyone thought I was so empowered by doing it. And I knew that I was, but to feel it when you're there is different. And the reaction of both locals and other travelers alike, honestly, from 19 to 79, 80, they were in super support. I actually met a woman. This is for season 2. I think it's episode 4. So I'm in northern Vietnam. And I met a woman named Pat. She was an American and she had joined the Vietnam War when she was a teenager and wanted to fight in this war. Well, she ended up never actually going to Vietnam, but she had this guilt all her life of like, why did I join this war to kill someone that I didn't know? So she came to Vietnam, she solo traveled, and she wanted to meet a Vietnamese veteran. So I had this American veteran and this Vietnamese veteran. I brought them together in one of the episodes. And this guy, we asked him, his life story. And he had served in 3 wars. Not one of them did he want to be a part of. He was a musician and a teacher and an artist. And he's sitting there serving her snacks, showing him, introducing all his friends, none of who spoke English, and introducing every single pet in the neighborhood. And she's bawling because of this experience. And she can't help but laugh and cry at the same time. And what an experience for her to use solo travel for a cathartic moment. And there might be that for somebody else, whether they're going to Italy or Vietnam or somewhere in between.
Right.
Just like me, I actually want to go to, I want to go to South Dakota because I want to see Mount Rushmore. I actually always promised my grandma I would take her there. I know that Mount Rushmore is 17 hours and 45 minutes from my house. That's how much I've mapped it. And even if I didn't bring my grandma, she's long since passed, I will bring her in spirit. And so for me, that will be a cathartic solo trip. And hopefully I can meet you there. And I love what you said, that just because you're solo traveling doesn't mean you're never alone. The whole world is with you. Some of these solo group women tours, there's a lot of ways that you can solo travel. It doesn't mean you're alone. Take that word out of the equation.
Exactly. And you made a good point. You're married, I'm married, and yet we both do a lot of solo traveling. It's not that I don't enjoy traveling with my husband. I do, and we do a lot of traveling together. But it is nice to be able to just go on my own and go with girlfriends or do the things that I want to do that I know that, for him, it's more of a chore. So, yeah,
And don't you feel different when you come back? Like your relationship, you have something to share.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yep. And I usually can't wait to go on the next trip then, usually because it's a girl camper trip.
Yeah. It fills us up. We as women, there's just no way about it. We connect in a different way than most men, and we fill up our soul when we're with other women that lift us. When what is it? You raise tide. When the tide raises, all boats raise. And so
Yeah.
when one woman raises herself and raises others with her, we all raise up. It's a different kind of connection, communication.
True. That's true. So what's up next for me, myself, and the world? Do you have any exciting destinations, plans, themes? What are you exploring? Fill us in.
Yes, I am so excited. Season 3, I'm calling Me, Myself, and the World the Backyard series because I'm going to explore and share the United States, which I'm so excited about because I grew up mostly in Hawaii. So I'm going to get to explore the hidden gems as a solo traveler, do a little bit of camping, some RVing, and really explore what's right here that I haven't seen and some that I have that I want to share. So I'm very excited about that. I know one of the biggest things is a lot of people have watched the show felt like Vietnam and Bali and Thailand were just a little too much for their first solo adventure.
Mhm.
So I'm going to show them things that they can feel comfortable with right here in the good old US.
Fantastic. Well, I hope that includes coming out and visiting me here in the Black Hills because I would love to be your tour guide, show you Mount Rushmore, show you camping at some beautiful spots that are off the beaten path, like the Wall that overlooks
Mm.
Badlands National Park. Maybe experience camping in the National Forest here, just some different ways to camp because we've got so much to offer out here and it is a wonderful place. And so I hope you'll think about that.
I will. I will. Thank you. And one quick thing that I wanted to share with your viewers is in 2025, I've teamed up to set jet to episodes 1 through 4 of season 1. And basically, what set jetting is you get to experience what you see on TV in person. So I'm going with the Postcard Adventure group, and in Bali in 2025, we'll be in Bali for 10, 11 days. And again, everything you see in episode 1 through 4 is what you get to experience in real life. So that's going to be really fun. And maybe after season 3, we can do girl camper set jetting into season 3.
That'd be great. That would
Yes.
Well, I had to encourage anybody who has never been to Bali and has always wanted to go to definitely look at Pamela's trip because Bali is such a wonderful place to visit. Despite being a long way away, I think that's still been my longest flight to get to anywhere, but it was worth it. And Bali has so much to offer. So definitely check that out. Where can they find out more about not only that, but also about you, Pamela?
Yes. Um, a great place to connect with me is on social media. It's at the Pamela Holt on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the good or X, all the good ones. And at the sorry, my website is pamelaholt.com. And you can see the links for the shows. You, of course, can stream it for free on Go Traveler, which is a great place to stream both seasons, as well as Tubi and Amazon Prime. And of course, postcardadventuregroup.com is a great place to book the Bali trip if you want to join us.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on today. It's been such a great fun talking to you. I feel like, yeah, we're, definitely kindred spirits here.
Yes, we are.
So this
I-
has been wonderful.
I've been really excited to talk to just your girl camper audience because I think they're my kind of gals.
Yeah, definitely. We're kind of definitely the solo travelers and a lot of women that want to be solo travelers. So hopefully today's show will inspire them to give it a try.
I love that. All right. Well, happy travels.
Thank you. Hey, that is our show for today. And I want to thank Pamela Holt for coming on. She was so fun to talk to. I love someone who has the adventurous spirit for traveling and that has nothing that's holding her back. Love that. Check her show out, Me, Myself, and the World. It's on Amazon Prime. It's streaming on Tubi and also on the Go Traveler channel. Thanks for watching, or listening if you're podcasting. And if you did enjoy today's show, which I hope you did, don't forget to tap that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future episodes. You connect with Girl Camper online with us through our website, our Facebook groups, Instagram. Check out all of our Girl Camper events that we have lined up. What a great way to jump in and try solo traveling. Join us for that fun. Until next week, I am Lisa McDermott, your co host, and I will catch you by the campfire.